Hey guys, welcome to the channel, ValhallaOutfitter.com. You can get practical tips, gear reviews on the things that you might be using as you think about getting outside. Today we're talking about a couple of packs. These are both by Mystery Ranch. I have a selection of kind of smaller packs that are, scouting day hunts, full-on day packs. The Badlands Super Day is what I use for that. But we're thinking about going out and chasing some goats. And I'm going to need to be able to be out at least 3 days in the field with everything I need backcountry hunting. So to that end, I was looking at packs and kind of narrowed it down to these two. Big difference between them, this is the Terraframe 65. So that's 65 liters. I think that's around 4,000 cubic inches. And then we have the Metcalf 75, which is 75 liters. And is closer to 4,400 cubic inches. So I thought it might help to see the practical differences between these two if you are thinking. This is typically marketed to kind of the hikers, through hikers, and this Metcalf is kind of marketed to hunters. They both have the equivalent idea of the meat shelf. You disconnect the pack from the frame and you can slide it out about that far, stuff a game bag in there, and then strap the whole thing together. Similar to this, the Terraframe also has the same feature, but they just call it the overload, right? Because your hiker may not necessarily need to pack meat. I thought it would be smart for you to help you guys if we started looking at them this way so you could see the practical differences between the packs in terms of their construction. They both have load lifters. They are both frame packs. I think this one is called the MT Light, which is a little bit lighter. This pack may be about half a pound lighter than this one. This also has some adjustments here where the, I think that's where the lid can ostensibly go. One thing I really noticed right off the bat is that the material used in the padded areas is considerably thinner on the Metcalf. This feels like a memory foam type of padding. And then these here are perforated for breathability, and they are quite a bit thicker. So far, I've found that the Metcalf feels, they both fit very well and snugly. The Metcalf, the way it grabs your body, feels a little more comfortable because it feels a little lighter. Like, for example, when you look at the lumbar support on the Terraframe, this is the kind of the small of your back, and then it has these two wings that come out. And over here on the Metcalf, they just have this kind of ergonomically designed lumbar pad, and then just the belts, right, like that. So this is a little more svelte, I guess, than this one. The straps, the shoulder straps, same way. These are a little thinner, that memory foam. These are a little thicker with that perforation. Same chest strap setup, same load lifter system, same buckle action on both sides, and both belts do have the Molle adjustments or attachment points where you could add a bag or a holster or whatever you want. So that's just looking at them. Interestingly, this is the bigger pack, but that looks smaller, and it's because a lot of the carrying capacity, I think, is in the top. We'll get these turned around and I'll show you what they look like carrying an identical load so you can get a feel for how much practical difference there is in the spaces between the two of them. So hang tight, we'll flip this camera around and we'll get you on the fronts of these things. Okay, so for the Terraframe, there's a couple things about this pack that I really like that the Metcalf actually doesn't have. One big difference when you look at the lid, fully detachable, one zipper compartment opening on the lid that does have a little organizer in between. Pop that back, drawstring enclosure with that little extra bit of material here. You do have Molle attachments here down the middle, like so. If you wanted to attach something there, you certainly could. Ample compression straps to get this thing small. You do have two very long pockets, right? So in one you might put a spotting scope, I think would actually fit in there. I should grab mine and see. Or maybe you could jam your tripod in there. And on the other side, ostensibly, you could consider maybe putting your tent stakes in there. But these are nice big roomy pockets. It would be closed for that tripod, but I bet if you got one that was slightly smaller, it might fit. That would be a stretch. It does have elasticized side pocket holders, kind of your typical Nalgene. One thing that the Terraframe has that I really like is when you flip it down, you can pop these two compression buckles, and when they are released, you have access to this zipper. And this zipper is a U-shaped. It is a 300, I don't know what a U-shape is, 180 degrees. So if you unzip this zipper, you have access to the entire contents of the bag without having to go from the top down. That is not present on the Metcalf. The Metcalf, I'll show you in a second, you have the ability to have two side entry pockets. So with this U, I can open this thing up. And this 65 liter pack would get me through. This is reasonably packed right now, but I would still need to add my tent, which I don't have in here now because we're about to order it. So I think a tent would also fit in here, plus a change of clothes, and that would be about stuff to capacity for me, and that would probably get me through the type of trips that I'm looking at. But this U zipper feature, I really, really like on the pack. Especially if you need to get something from the bottom, or say you get to camp and you're ready to grab your tent and your bag and your pad, and you don't want to have to go from the top down and pull out all your food or your stove or whatever. I mean, it just makes getting to your stuff, you can be a little bit more choosy about how you're accessing your stuff, right? So it has those two long pockets in the front. Don't forget, that's a big difference from the Terraframe. Now, or the Metcalf. The Metcalf, on the other hand, also has the lid. This lid, though, has two separate zipper compartments. So probably about equally spacious, maybe slightly more space, actually, in this lid than the other setup there. But it helps keep you a little bit organized. Now, the Metcalf does not have the drawstring. It has a buckle and a roll top. Now, here's where this thing can get really big. You could pack this thing all the way up to there if you really needed to for some reason, and that is where a lot of that extra space comes in. One thing about the Metcalf, though, is, again, compression buckles on the side. That U-shaped zipper that we saw in the Terraframe is not present in the Metcalf. Instead, you get, certainly get a lot of buckles. Instead of the big U-shaped zip, you get a side zip to get in and access different parts of the main compartment, instead of the fully unzippable U-shape, which I kind of like the U-shape. And also, you do not get the long pouches on the front. You just get the cavern. The main cavern is packed. So we'll stuff the same amount of stuff in here that was in the other one so you can see what it looks like. I really do kind of like those long pockets on the front of the other one, and I really like that U-shaped zipper. So if I can get everything I need into that 65, I'll probably just use it and be done with it. Right? GPS would probably stay out. Charge bank can go in here. Go to food in. Coffee. I'm a slave of my coffee. I don't know if you guys take it, but I take it. Alright, then we'll take the ACR, GPS, knife, Letterman, put all this stuff out. So, then what you do is you roll down your top. Probably what I would do, because it doesn't have those long pockets, is to stick like my puffy jacket in. I would stick it down the, I would unzip the side and stick it in there so that I could get it easily. Right? Alright, there's that. I mean, so clearly the 75 is going to hold everything that the 65 did. I just wanted you to see kind of how they pack down in comparison. There is still much room left in the 75, especially with that expandable lid. So there you go. So that's the same amount of stuff in the Metcalf 75, but you have the ability to expand that top significantly. Some people grouse about the fact that this thing kind of flops over if it's not all the way full, but I think, and it may be in the all the way down position, I think there may be a way to actually adjust this so it hangs up higher when you are using it. I would say that they're both great packs. It just, part of it is going to depend on how you like to run your organization. If you like those additional long pockets and you like the U-zipper, that 65 will do everything that this can do. I will say that this is about ½ a pound lighter, and in my experience of just wearing it around, this new memory foam setup does feel to me that it is more comfortable. But, you know, that's personal opinion, so your individual results may vary. And really what I need to do is get this thing out on the trip. I was hopeful that I could make some determinations about which one I really thought was better for me before the trip, but it's just a matter of those, the way those different organizer pockets are set up as to which one you think is going to be better for you. So this thing attaches to there. Well, I think this thing might come back through here. And then you put it back up here to compress it. The problem is with all these buckles, it's a real procedure to get in and out once you want to button this thing up. So that's why those side pocket attachment points are handy, because you those side pockets or those long pockets on the front are handy, and the side access points are handy because you can get in there without having to undo this whole rigmarole, right? You don't have the Molle attachments down the middle of this, but you have a couple on the side you could hook something to if you wanted. You do have a couple loops down here if you wanted to hang something off the bottom. But I think I've got this pretty much well set where I'm going to be able to put a tent in there and it's all going to fit in the pack, and I'll be able to take it with me. A little big for a day pack, so you're going to want to think about how you do that. But main differences between these two, the padding on the Metcalf is kind of an updated version, so is the lumbar support. The Terraframe 65 has the two long pockets and the big zipper U access, which is nice. The Metcalf does not. It's kind of cavernous, but you do get these two zips, one on each side, to get into the main compartment if you choose, and you get a little bit more expansive lid. Probably going to try the Metcalf 75 and see how we do. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Hope this helped you. If you have any questions about these packs in particular, let me know. I try to answer everybody.